Imagine you're flying a state-of-the-art stealth drone high above enemy territory. The sky is calm, systems are stable, until suddenly, without warning, the drone veers off course, descends, and lands with precision. But not at your base. It lands in enemy hands. That's what Iran claimed to have done in 2011, hijacking a US drone using fake GPS signals. Since that moment, GPS spoofing has become a silent weapon of modern warfare. Today, it's back. Ships in the Persian Gulf vanish from navigation systems, locations shift without movement, and digital maps no longer tell the truth. What is GPS? How does it guide us so precisely? And how can it be so easily deceived? This video explores the full story behind Iran's spoofing tactics, the origins of GPS during Cold War tensions, and the extraordinary science that lets satellites pinpoint your exact location on Earth. We'll uncover how a technology that powers your phone, your car, your bank, and your military has become a high-value target in a new kind of global conflict. From satellite mechanics and Einstein's relativity to military secrets and electronic deception, this is the untold story of GPS. Let's begin.
Iran's history of GPS spoofing and its broader implications. Why are we starting with Iran's involvement in GPS spoofing? Because it illustrates how important and vulnerable GPS technology is in the modern world. By examining how Iran has historically manipulated GPS signals, we gain insight into both the technological power and potential threats associated with satellite navigation systems. In 2011, Iran made global headlines when it claimed to have captured a US RQ-170 Sentinel stealth drone. Iranian officials stated that they brought the drone down not by shooting it, but by electronically deceiving its navigation system, specifically through GPS spoofing. The method allegedly involved broadcasting a fake GPS signal to the drone, convincing it that it was landing safely at its base when, in reality, it was descending into Iranian territory. Although the U.S. has never officially confirmed this version of events, cybersecurity experts and military analysts agree that such spoofing is technically possible. In recent years, especially throughout 2024 and into 2025, new incidents have emerged. Ships navigating the Strait of Hormuz and the Arabian Gulf, a critical waterway for global oil shipment, have experienced widespread GPS anomalies. It is estimated that over 1,000 vessels a day in this region have reported incorrect positioning, disappearing from radar, or showing up in implausible locations. Smartphones and smart devices in nearby countries like the UAE and Bahrain have shown erratic time zone changes or unusual GPS behavior, often resetting to Tehran time. These symptoms align with GPS jamming and spoofing, suggesting Iran is continuing to engage in electronic warfare tactics to disrupt foreign surveillance, monitoring, and navigation. Now that we've seen real-world interference, it's important to understand: what is GPS? How does it work? Why is it so critical? And who controls it? What is GPS and why does it matter? What exactly is GPS? GPS stands for Global Positioning System. It is a network of satellites orbiting Earth that transmit precise timing and positioning data to receivers on the ground. The purpose of GPS is to allow anyone, anywhere on Earth, to determine their exact geographic location using a small receiver like the one in your smartphone or car. GPS is significant because it has become the invisible infrastructure behind countless systems. From guiding aircraft in bad weather, to timing financial transactions in milliseconds, to letting your fitness tracker count your jogging distance, GPS silently enables a digital society. And although it began as a U.S. military project, it is now a global utility used by billions. Please guys, if you liked the video, hit subscribe button. How and why was GPS developed? When was GPS first conceived? And why was it built in the first place? The roots of GPS date back to the Cold War. In 1957, the Soviet Union launched Sputnik, the first artificial satellite. As Sputnik orbited Earth, American scientists noticed that its radio signals changed in frequency depending on its position relative to the observer, a phenomenon known as the Doppler effect. This led to a revolutionary realization: if you knew the satellite's position, you could determine your location on Earth based on the signal you receive. This laid the conceptual groundwork for satellite-based navigation. By 1973, the U.S. Department of Defense had officially started developing what would become the GPS system, under the name Navstar. Its purpose was to provide accurate, all-weather, global navigation for military operations, especially for submarines, aircraft, and long-range missiles. Over time, the system grew, satellite by satellite. By 1995, the GPS constellation was considered fully operational with 24 satellites. At first, the U.S. intentionally degraded the civilian signal to maintain military superiority. This was called selective availability. But in 2000, President Bill Clinton ordered it deactivated, making high-precision GPS available to everyone. Since then, GPS has become integral to civilian life worldwide. How does GPS actually work? What is the science behind GPS? How can a device know your location using signals from space? GPS works through a process called trilateration. Imagine you are somewhere on Earth and you can hear signals from multiple satellites above. Each GPS satellite constantly broadcasts its position and the exact time the message was sent. Your GPS receiver picks up these signals and calculates how long each signal took to reach it. Since radio waves travel at the speed of light, the delay reveals the distance to each satellite. Now, with the distance from one satellite, your location could be anywhere on a sphere around that satellite. Add a second satellite, and your location narrows down to a circle where the two spheres intersect. With a third satellite, you reduce the possibilities to 2 points. A fourth satellite helps eliminate ambiguity and determines your altitude. This process relies on precise timing. GPS satellites contain atomic clocks, which are accurate to within nanoseconds. Even a tiny timing error would translate to huge errors in distance since light travels nearly 300,000 kilometers per second. A 1 microsecond error means a 300-meter location error. This is why time synchronization is so important in GPS and why it's also used by banks, power grids, and telecommunication systems that require nanosecond-level timing coordination. What is the connection between GPS and satellites? Why do we need satellites for GPS, and how are they organized? GPS depends entirely on satellites in space. Specifically, GPS satellites orbit Earth at an altitude of about 20,200 kilometers in what is called medium Earth orbit, MEO. Each satellite completes an orbit roughly every 12 hours. These satellites follow carefully planned orbital paths to ensure that, at any given time, at least 4 satellites are visible from any point on Earth. There are currently over 30 active satellites in the GPS constellation, providing global redundancy and better accuracy. These satellites are constantly monitored and controlled from Earth by ground stations, which track their positions and update their clocks. This system ensures that all satellites remain precisely aligned and synchronized. The satellites themselves transmit their data using radio frequencies in the L-band. Civilian devices typically use the L1 frequency, while military and professional applications may use L2 or L5, which offer more precision and resistance to interference. Is GPS controlled solely by the United States? Who owns GPS? Can other countries interfere with it or build their own? GPS is owned and operated by the United States government, specifically managed by the U.S. Space Force. The system was built and is maintained primarily for military use, although it is freely available for civilians worldwide. The U.S. retains the power to degrade, deny, or alter the GPS signal in certain regions if it sees fit, usually for national security reasons. Because of this dependency and strategic risk, other global powers have developed their own satellite navigation systems. Russia operates GLONASS, China has Beidou. The European Union developed Galileo, India maintains NAVIC for regional coverage, and Japan runs QZSS for enhanced service in East Asia. Modern GPS receivers, including those in smartphones, often use signals from multiple systems simultaneously to improve accuracy and resilience. What is the science behind GPS in detail? Now, what are the deeper scientific principles that make GPS possible? First, we must understand the relativistic effects. According to Einstein's theory of relativity, time moves differently depending on gravity and motion. For GPS satellites, these effects are measurable and must be corrected for 1. Special relativity tells us that moving clocks tick more slowly. GPS satellites, moving at 14,000 kilometers per hour, experience time slightly slower than Earth clocks. 2. General relativity states that clocks in weaker gravitational fields, like in orbit, tick faster. So, from the satellite's perspective, time runs quicker. Combined, these effects cause satellite clocks to gain about 38 microseconds per day. If uncorrected, this would lead to location errors of about 10 kilometers per day. GPS systems account for these effects, adjusting clocks both on the satellites and in the receiver algorithms. Next, there's the issue of signal delay. GPS signals must travel through the Earth's atmosphere, including the ionosphere, which can delay and bend radio waves. Advanced GPS receivers apply correction models or receive differential GPS, DGPS, or real-time kinematic, RTK, updates to reduce these errors to centimeters. Another technical concern is multipath interference, where GPS signals bounce off buildings or terrain, leading to inaccurate readings. This is a major issue in urban environments and is mitigated through antenna design and signal processing techniques. What are the vulnerabilities of GPS? Why is GPS vulnerable, and how can it be attacked or disrupted? GPS signals are incredibly weak by the time they reach Earth, often weaker than background noise. This makes them susceptible to jamming, where a stronger signal is broadcast on the same frequency, drowning out the GPS data. Another threat is spoofing, where an attacker transmits a fake GPS signal with incorrect time and location data. This tricks receivers into calculating the wrong position. Unlike jamming, spoofing is subtle and hard to detect. Other vulnerabilities include space weather, like solar flares, which can disturb satellite signals, ground station hacking, potentially altering satellite data, receiver faults, such as firmware bugs or outdated location tables. For military and high-security uses, encrypted GPS signals and anti-spoofing protocols are employed. Conclusion: the past, present, and future of GPS. GPS is one of the most powerful technological infrastructures in human history. It was born out of Cold War necessity, inspired by the earliest days of satellite exploration, and matured into a global navigation system relied upon by billions every day. At its core, GPS represents a brilliant fusion of physics, engineering, space science, and information theory. It uses the universal constant of the speed of light, synchronized atomic clocks, and relativistic corrections to triangulate our position on a spinning, moving planet with centimeter-level accuracy. Yet, despite its marvels, GPS is not invincible. The story of Iran's spoofing tactics, starting with the alleged 2011 drone incident and continuing with recent maritime interference, shows that GPS is also a battlefield in electronic warfare. Its openness is a strength and a weakness. Though anyone can use it, anyone can also try to manipulate it. That is why nations are now investing in alternate systems, encrypted channels, quantum navigation, and AI-powered anomaly detection. Still, GPS remains the gold standard. It synchronizes our world, connects our infrastructure, and navigates our lives. Whether you're a pilot landing a plane, a farmer steering an autonomous tractor, or a commuter checking your location, GPS is silently at work linking you to space, to science, and to one of humanity's greatest engineering achievements.
Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you taking the time to check out my video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. Your support means the world to me and helps the channel grow. Stay tuned for more videos, and let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. See you in the next one.